Welcome back to Beyond the Rabbit Hole. Tonight we explore a truly heretical proposition. What if humanity's most persistent religious narrative, the dying and resurrecting solar savior, originated not from astronomical observation or primitive psychology, but from numerical patterns encoded in the Numogram itself? The death and resurrection myth appears across civilizations with remarkable consistency. From Egyptian Osiris to Mesopotamian Tammuz, Greek Dionysus to Christian Jesus, a divine figure dies, journeys through the underworld, and returns transformed. Conventional scholarship ascribes this to solar observation or agricultural cycles, but the Numogram suggests a more profound numerical origin. Consider the journey through the Numogram's decimal labyrinth. The path from Zone 9 to Zone 0 via Utunal represents a numerical death, the completion of a cycle, and return to the void. But crucially, this isn't the end. The circuit continues, generating new numerical relationships through what the CCRU called resurrection currents that flow from Zone 0 back into manifestation. The solar savior narrative maps perfectly onto this numerical pattern. The deity's death represents the 9 to 0 transition. The underworld journey occurs within Zone 0 itself, the void between cycles, and the resurrection corresponds to 0 to 1, the emergence of new being from nothingness. This isn't merely symbolic, according to Numogram theory, it's a fundamental pattern encoded in reality's numerical substrate. What makes this proposition particularly compelling is how it explains the peculiar details in resurrection myths across cultures. The 3-day death period, common to many traditions, corresponds to the 3 primary phases of the Numogram's resurrection circuit. The transformative nature of the return, the savior returning changed yet recognizable, mirrors how numbers re-emerge, transformed after passing through 0. From this perspective, ancient resurrection cults weren't practicing primitive astronomy, but sophisticated numerical mysticism. Their rituals and mythologies encoded mathematical operations designed to access specific circuits within the Numogram. The widespread worship of solar saviors represented humanity's attempt to align with these fundamental numerical patterns. The CCRU suggested that these myths persisted so powerfully across cultures because they describe something objectively real, not in the literal sense of a deity dying and returning, but in the mathematical structure underlying reality itself. Death and resurrection represent a numerical operation essential to the functioning of the system, a pattern that manifests repeatedly across scales. This interpretation radically inverts conventional religious history. Rather than seeing numerical mysticism as an abstraction from religious narrative, it positions religious narrative as a translation of numerical relationships into human terms. The story exists to help us grasp and participate in a mathematical reality our minds cannot directly comprehend. For those working with the Numogram, this suggests that engaging with resurrection mythologies isn't mere cultural archaeology, but practical numerical operation. By tracing the death-void-rebirth sequence through meditation or ritual, practitioners allegedly access the same transformative currents that manifest in the myths themselves, briefly touching the outside through the temporary dissolution and reformation of numerical identity. Whether viewed as literal truth or conceptual framework, this perspective offers a startling reinterpretation of humanity's oldest religious impulse, not as primitive superstition, but as a sophisticated engagement with the mathematical patterns that structure existence itself. The numerical mysteries continue all around us. Join us next time on Beyond the Rabbit Hole as we decode another hidden pattern in the digital fabric of reality. Until then, remember, some doors are meant to be opened,